welcome to another episode of still an unnamed podcast. We call it a mini podcast now, but in the previous episode, which you haven't seen, or you may have seen it now, we asked you for suggestion how this should be called, but we may stick with mini podcast. And in the next episode, or in this episode, I have Václav Kučera, not senior.
No.
You're not senior.
No.
You're just a regular staff engineer.
Just a boring, old, regular staff engineer.
But a very recent one, so congratulations.
Thank you.
But today, I don't want to talk about work so much, but about something that became part of the lore, which is a word that I learned recently, and I hope I used it in the right context. And that's mechanical keyboards. So mechanical keyboards. Why wouldn't I use a normal keyboard, and how does a mechanical keyboard differ to a normal keyboard?
Yeah, my favorite question.
And the one you get often?
And one I've heard before today.
Mm-hmm. Or maybe you have heard it like 10 minutes ago when we recorded the first time, but without the sound.
No, I don't think that's it. No. But mechanical keyboards, why? So you have computers, right?
Yes.
We spend a lot of money on computers. You can customize everything. You can have a GPU for 2,000 euros. You can have a super expensive case with RGB everywhere. But the part that you use the most, that you touch the most, is the keyboard. And then people will just have a regular 20 euro rubber dome keyboard. It doesn't make sense, right? And especially for us as software engineers, we spend most of our time writing on the keyboard. It's both a professional tool and it's a tool for fun. And as other professionals have their professional tools for professional money, why wouldn't we get professional tools as well, right?
Wow, that's a strong and compelling case, and I feel like you said it all, and we can end it here.
Okay, it's been a pleasure.
So
at least that's the excuse.
Yes.
Of course, that's a part of it, right? It's to have a good tool. And even though it might not offer you like huge benefits, it might not make you type that much faster.
Actually, it may make you even like struggle more with writing.
No. It's strictly better. It's strictly better. But the part that really helps is that like every day you look forward to using your nice professional tools again, right? You're just like a little bit more excited to go to work. Even though the benefit is tiny, you just enjoy it a little bit more.
And it's visually nice, I would say.
Yes, there's a lot of aesthetic reasons why you might prefer to have a mechanical keyboard.
So how long have you been part of this cult, or have you started it?
No, yeah, I fell down the rabbit hole, I think like 8 years ago, maybe longer. As most people do by browsing Reddit and just seeing a fancy keyboard. And I didn't have any money. But I bought one anyway, and once I bought one, I completely fell headfirst into the rabbit hole. I went to my first mechanical keyboard meetup in Vienna. I took a train there just for the meetup.
But you had no money.
I had no money, yes. I spent all of my money on keyboards. I went there to meet other freaks like me because I didn't know about anybody else. There I bought my first parts for my first custom keyboard, and it just went downhill from there.
So how many do you own currently?
Now, I stopped counting. I think it's slightly above 10.
It's 11 or 100.
Yeah, somewhere above 10. Yeah.
And how many people you think you converted to this in Mews or maybe elsewhere? And how many have you built for us? Because in community events, we used to give out your works. So how would you think you influence people?
Dozens, hopefully. Sometimes more by force than by choice. You just go to the office and you're surrounded by people with mechanical keyboards,
which is the case today, actually.
Yeah, it slowly spreads. I'm very pleased to see that.
But you also wrote a blog post many years ago, and I have to say that it's one of the most referenced one, or also one that we reference people to, because it shows character. And I think that's also the reason why we are happy to host meetups of your community in our office, because we like to support communities that come from our colleagues, like Counter-Strike tournament that we had in the past, for example.
That was fun.
Yeah, you were also part of it, so it feels like you like to be part of
I was on the bench,
communities.
but I still claimed the victory.
Well, we finished fourth, but due to some we got medals.
I'll take it.
So tell us a little bit about the community that you are running.
Yeah, so I thought I was the only freak into keyboards in Czech Republic. I went to the meetup in Vienna, so that there were freaks there. There weren't many. We just met in this like shady basement where we were exchanging parts for keyboards.
I'd like to see the raid by the police, hoping that they'll get like some
it would absolutely be in the
cartel.
news. They would think we were building bombs.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't know anybody else here. I met this guy at an online forum. Turns out he was from Prague, so we met in person, talked about keyboards, touched each other keyboards, which is an okay thing to do.
And to say, apparently.
And to say, yes, out loud. And then, yeah, we met a third guy and realized, yeah, this is a community now officially.
But the first meetup was you two, right?
It was just the two of us in a pub touching each other's keyboards.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So then it expanded, right? You had more and more people, and then Mews comes in play. So yeah, how many have we done here, and when is the next one?
Oh yeah, we've done I think 3 meetups here now. We've done one in the basement, which was
that's where we
fun.
are.
That's where you put away the nerds who use keyboards. But no, now we have a beautiful event space. And on May 10th, you can come check it out. If you have keyboards, if you don't have keyboards, just stop by, see what it's all about, if we're exaggerating or not.
And I know it's not a regular meetup where somebody would have a speech or a talk or a panel discussion or something like that. It's more like a expo.
Yes. Yeah. We've tried speeches before. People don't really care. The biggest keyboard meetup is in Frankfurt, Mechanicon. It's hundreds of people.
Mechanicon.
Yeah. Good name. There's always presentations, but people don't pay attention. They just wanna talk about keyboards, right? Yeah. So we pretty much just put tables around. We put keyboards and keyboard parts on them, and just let people have fun.
But not only keyboards and its parts, but there are cards next to it. So what's on the cards?
Yeah, on the cards you have all of the technical details you need to know about the keyboard, because you can customize every part. You absolutely do need to know. And people take it too far sometimes. They will make their own switches. They will take them apart, put different switches together, mod them, swap the springs, lubricate them.
There is lubing.
There's lubing switches, yes, and it's very important.
But there is not a special lube for keyboards. You borrowed it from somewhere.
Yeah, we had to use this. The most popular brand is called Crytox. It's this like industrial lube for
unexpected
machines.
Product placement.
Yeah, not affiliated with Crytox in any way. And we just realized that if we take tiny bits of this lube and we put it between the friction points in the switch, it feels better and sounds better.
Okay.
So you can see the difference. This one is not lubed and this one is lubed.
Okay, let's ask the listeners to. So this one is?
This one is not lubed.
It's not.
And you can feel it's kind of scratchy.
Okay,
right?
yeah, it's very scratchy. I cannot imagine typing on that.
Night and day, am I right?
Wow.
You get it.
So tell me something about, let's say, these two. Like, what is different about them apart from being looped and not looped?
It is the same layout. I've kind of converged on 40% keyboards. It's the perfect size. It means that it only has 40% of the switches of a full-size keyboard. But besides that, you have different keycaps. You have different profiles of keycaps, which are done by different manufacturers. You have different switches. You have different mounting systems. It goes on and on. Abort,
step, code, dump, proc, plot, com, standby, feed, stop.
These are space themed. It doesn't make sense, and you shouldn't really look at it. It's purely for aesthetic reasons. And if you look down on the keyboard, you see what you're typing, wrong. You should feel ashamed.
Because there is also something that it's not letters, it's not numbers. I don't know what I'm looking at.
Exactly. But you know exactly where you are because you have these like homing keys, right?
But I don't have them here.
No, they're like dimples, which is another difference. There are like two styles of homing keys.
I actually confirm it's different. F
Thank you.
and J are different.
So you know exactly where the home position is, and you know exactly where the other keys are in relation to the home position, and you never need to look down at the keyboard.
And I'm pretty sure it's kind of a big business now because you can resell it, you can make some money out of it, you can buy like some vintage ones. So how does this work? And are you part of this, that you're reselling, or you're just a keeper?
Yeah, it is a big business, and you can make money off of it. I tried not to, but at least it's like a sustainable way to keep doing the hobby. You buy something, you build a keyboard out of it, then you sell it, and you use that to buy another keyboard, and it just keeps going. Sometimes you can make a little bit of money because of scarcity, like these keycaps, for example, were made in a limited quantity,
okay,
and the people who didn't buy them in time and want to buy them now would need to usually pay like a little bit extra on the aftermarket.
Is there like a grading authority like there is in sports cards or Pokemon cards?
No, I wish, but I'm sure there are some nerds that are that far into it.
And there are, because these are all built, right? You build these, so these are one of a kind. There must have been some vintage ones, some old ones that are still being sold. So is it a thing?
Yeah, that's a huge part of it, and that's how this hobby started, right? Like people found old keyboards and realized that old keyboards are nicer to type on than the cheap new ones.
Mm-hmm.
So we're kind of like reusing this old tech in new keyboards, but also people are just straight up using old keyboards from the 80s, like IBM Model Ms, Model Fs. Those are super popular and can go for hundreds or thousands of euros.
Is there some like holy grail keyboard? Because let's say in sports, and I'll insert sports here, okay? In sports card business, the Honus Wagner, I think it's like 1904 card is like the card. Is there any like the keyboard?
There are a few of them like that,
like used by Steve Jobs when he first typed on him first Mac or something.
Not that unique, but when the community started, the really nice keyboards were only made in Korea. Like the super custom keyboards that were heavy, they were chunky, they felt nice, and they are super rare now. And often you can't even buy them with money. Sometimes you like see them on the market for like thousands of euros. But often people will just trade them. Like they're so rare that they will only trade them for other rare keyboards.
Yeah, this is very heavy.
Yeah, I try to go as heavy as possible because I have a small keyboard and I want something solid that's not going to slide around on the table.
Well,
people will like try to compete with each other to make the heaviest keyboard possible.
Mm-hmm. And so this is my favorite of yours. Yeah. There's this little like
rotary encoder. Yeah.
What is that?
You can make it do whatever you want. Usually people have it set up for volume. I also have it set up for scrolling, which is really nice because often like you lean with your left hand and you scroll with your mouse, but this way you can like lean on your right hand and scroll with your keyboard.
Wow.
Which is very useful when reviewing pull requests.
9 out of 10 chiropractics recommend this one to balance your posture. Do you change them based on how you wake up, based on the weather, based on your mood, based on how your fingers feel? Or you stick with one and then...
many of them are pretty much interchangeable. Some people have a system, some people just use one. I just rotate them whenever I feel like it.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything you would like to say to people who are unconvinced about this thing?
Show up on May 10th. See what it's all about. I promise you won't be disappointed. And you might actually walk away with a keyboard.
Oh, there's going to be a raffle?
We have huge raffles, a lot of things to win. My manager actually showed up to one of these meetups, completely unconvinced. And he walked away with a keyboard, and now he's down the rabbit hole.
I once won a loop at your event.
We can set up a looping station for you.
Thank you. What would you tell to, or can a person that likes mice come to your meetup? Or did I offend you?
We don't talk about mice.
Okay. So that's purely keyboards, mouse.
There is some overlap, but usually it would be what do you call them? Trackballs. like those things where you don't have to move the mouse, but you have a.
But I guess you will also have it incorporated in some of the.
People have built keyboards like that. They get really freaky with it. They have these like 3D printed vertical keyboards with like a thumb ball that you can use for scrolling. You can do.
And I guess 3D printing is a big in your industry now, because you can 3D print Pikachu for Escape or something like that.
Exactly.
Nice. Václav, thank you very much. Let's see if there are any new followers of your preaching. And as always, you can reach out to Václav on Slack if you're in news, or in LinkedIn, because Vašek is always happy to talk keyboards.
Join us.
So hopefully this is recorded this time. See you next time. Thank you.